This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for being here. This show is created to discuss life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Today, I have someone here so pleasant. I just really adore her. Her name is Raquel Alger, and she is a motivational speaker, a certified life coach, a certified therapeutic art life coach, which I love. And the most important relationship she has is with God. And I love that too, because that's my relationship with God too. So I wanted her here so we can talk about really a lot of different things, because there's a lot of coaches out there, right, Raquel?
Yeah.
And but I like the therapeutic art part of it that you have in there. I love that you boldly say, my relationship with God is important,
Mhm.
that you do this motivational speaking. So before we get into all of that, can you please let my audience know a little bit more about you and who Raquel is?
Of course. So, right now, I am currently going to school for my master's in social work. Right now, it's kind of like the break season because it's
Mhm.
during the summer. And I have my bachelor's in psychology and also certified life coach. And she just went over everything. But I really just have so much fun with
Mhm.
what knowledge I've gained, whether it be therapeutic uh, art coach, and I really enjoy doing that the most. And I think it's just such a great opportunity to help transform your thinking
Mm.
and find a place of peacefulness and kind of ground you because that's what I use it for myself.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Is it something that you've always done your whole life, or was there something that was a pivoting moment for you, something that changed you and made you go to the direction of having life coaching and something that was more therapeutic for you?
You know what's interesting is that I didn't do it as much or even look at it as um, something I could advance myself in. So I would do
Mm.
it every so often. And I did it for myself. And actually, I teach part time at an alternative high school. And I found out that even though it's at high school, right, we can all benefit from therapeutic art coaching. So
Mhm.
I would incorporate a lot of drawing exercises. And you know what's very interesting? A lot of people were very focused when I incorporated art into the lesson because they
Mm.
would, be using pencils like and markers to draw their, I guess, expressions or feelings, even towards the topic. I mean, I taught philosophy and astronomy, so but I made it work, and I really do. And you get to see the creativity of everyone,
Right.
and that they also like to show it out. They want to
Right.
say, "This is great. I can present this because I give them the opportunity to do this." And you see their confidence boost.
That's
And I
awesome.
think that's also so great about it because when you complete a project, if you're using that sort of part of therapy with art, you feel like you completed like this goal. You get to look at it and say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do that."
Right.
Yeah, it's really nice. I used to do also just okay. I'll say my favorite one that I did. It was I'm really sorry for everyone who's against like balloons and um believes that it's very bad for nature. And believe me, I don't have like a bunch of balloons go up in there, but it was this practice that I used, and it was you have a sticker, you have two stickers attached to the balloon. You have a negative thought you want to go away, you get away, and you also share a positive one that you want to share to the world. And I thought that was so great. It was relieving, and
That
also
is
it
great.
showed that you have uh, positive, positive things that you can give back to the universe as well
Mhm.
and other people.
Mhm.
So I really like that.
Would
That's
you
my
put
favorite
would you
one.
put those stickers on the balloon, you mean, and release them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so therapeutic too, right? Because I've done something similar, but we did it with paper, like this burned paper that you write like a negative thought or something you want to let go
Hmm.
of, and then you just light the paper, and the paper just and just goes like, it lights up and goes away.
Yeah.
But it's very therapeutic. It helps you release, right?
Hmm.
And if you're dealing with the younger generation, like you are in the schools and stuff like that, they have a lot of stuff going on, and so
Hmm.
it's nice that you can do that for them. That's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
right?
I enjoy
Yeah.
it.
I could see why you would enjoy that, because you're seeing almost like an instant transformation, right?
Hmm.
Especially when they release them in the balloons, like you see that instant, like, I let that go, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really amazing. Yeah. And you seem like you're really into, people and helping people, because even your master's is in psychology or no, social
Social work.
work.
Yeah.
Social work, right, which is people.
Yeah. It's people.
People.
Definitely.
That's awesome. So were you always this into like helping people and stuff, or was there a transition in your life of something you've gone through that helps you understand people at a different level?
Yeah. So basically, one of the things that wanted me to get really involved in psychology or just social work or connections, like people person, um, was I went through bullying. I mean, this is going to back to middle school and high school, but
Mhm.
I remember how that impacted me and how some of the things that I know now, I wish I knew back then.
Mm.
But then I actually was diagnosed with depression and OCD, and depression in middle school, and then high school OCD. So it was a rough time, and I realized that therapy helped me so much because
That's
there's
so
also
good.
a stigma around therapy
Yeah.
where people can be like, "Oh, there's something wrong with you. Um, what type of disease do you have?" Like, you
Right.
know?
Right. We
So
all
it
need therapy.
yes, we do. We really do.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
beneficial.
It is.
In class, we talk about how, um, you know what? Just go to therapy. It should be a requirement for us because
Yeah.
we're learning about all this, heavy stuff about
Mhm.
abuse, and also like some stuff can be a little like personal because of OCD and stuff and depression. And I'm working through it still.
Mhm.
And my spirituality and also uh, art has helped me now more than ever, and I
Yeah.
really just really appreciate that I've been more comfortable with going to therapy than I was in the past.
Yeah. Therapy is so important though. I've been to therapy too. We in our lives we go through so many different challenges and things, right? And a lot
Yeah.
of times we feel alone and that nobody understands us and what we're going through.
Hmm.
Or we have, people like, what you were talking about, the bullying and stuff, or people who are just not nice and kind or have hurt us.
Hmm.
Therapy helps you, right? It helps you release all of that.
Yeah.
And it's good. I'm glad that you are working also with a younger generation, because they need that voice, right? To somebody say to
Hmm.
them, therapy is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's no stigma about that.
Yeah.
Not to me anyway. I think that I've always said this. I think everybody needs a coach in their life.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
going to therapy is a good thing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
everybody needs a coach, because you need somebody who's going to motivate you, who's going to be there with you, make you accountable, show
Hmm.
you where you might be having some short-sightedness and help you get through that. Right.
Hmm.
So it's good that you're doing life coaching too. So that's going to really play a good part in your master's too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you find it to be like connecting?
Yes, I have. So when also it adds to the importance of um, connections
Mm-hmm.
because we do talk about the DSM-5 and things of that nature, right? And theories. I love learning about that. But also, and I have a year left, so we're going to get into different things, but
Right.
through the life coaching courses and the certifications and the spiritual certification that I had to do, um, it helped me think about connections with people and
Right.
how important that is. So
Right.
I kind of like that, stepping away from the theories just for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then there's there's always more things you can learn. Always.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I mean, I always said I never want to stop learning. My son just
Me
said that
too.
to me the other day. He goes, "Mom, you're going to be like 80, 85. You're still going to be finding new things to do
Mhm.
and that's just my
Yeah.
personality because I never want to stop learning. I want my brain to always be active,
Mhm.
but I wanted to get to what you do with kids, and it must make you really sensitive too, to like be able to see what you think might be going on in someone's life,
Mhm.
especially a young person, right? Being that you have the history of having to overcome your, struggles and battles of the bullying and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Bullying is a big deal. It's a big
Yeah.
freaking deal, right?
Yeah.
And we shouldn't wait to talk about it when a
Mhm.
kid takes his own life or, something horrible happens. I think it should be something that people talk about more often because it's
Yeah.
real. It's real,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's so so real, and I love that you brought up the point that we shouldn't like wait for
Mhm.
something bad to happen in order to talk about it. This is something that, you know, parents should also, I believe, at least say, I'm here for you to talk. And
Mhm.
talking is just such a great tool. Hearing when I was going through depression, and I was talking helped me so much.
Yeah.
Just someone saying, "I'm here to listen to you." At first I was a little hesitant. To be honest, I didn't talk about my depression and OCD a lot with, the outside world, outside of
Right.
therapy. Even in the beginning of therapy, I didn't really talk that much, but I became more comfortable with myself, and that, you know, the world's not out to get me, even though it really
Mhm.
feel like it
Mhm.
did. And I mean, you're going to face those people and those hateful words, 5 days a week, like 5 days a week,
Mhm.
you're going to see them in classes. And also,
That's true.
for any young people or parents that are are dealing with bullying issues, this is something that really helped me, that teachers can work with you. So after I talked to my dad, I went and we went together to talk with the school counselor and brought it to the school's attention. And each teacher worked with me,
Oh, that's
whether it be
good.
changing the seating arrangements. Oh my gosh, what a difference! What a difference that made.
Wow,
'Cause
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. So that was so helpful. And yeah, I really, it was just something that hit me so hard. And there have been people that kids like that, teenagers that have taken their own lives because
Oh,
of
yeah.
bullying.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, I mean, I know a few, right? So that's why I said that we don't have to wait until something bad happens before we do something about it. And this conversation is important too, because like you said, I spoke to my dad and so then something got done. And I
Mhm.
think that that's, so beneficial, you saying that you need to speak, you need to use your voice.
Mhm.
And I think that for anybody who's listening, whether you're older or not, because I struggled with depression too, so I know what that feels like, and it's a very
Mhm.
dark place.
Yeah,
But
it's a
there
dark
is
place.
light, there will be light, and get the help because there's a lot of people out there who want to help, Raquel, right? I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who really do want to help. Not
Mhm.
everybody is a bully, I guess is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
these small minutia of people who are bullies who I don't care for,
Mhm.
like I just don't. If you're going to be a bully, I don't really jive too well with that. But what I do know is that there's a lot of people who are kind,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of people who have gone through stuff and are
Mhm.
willing and able to help. So I'm just encouraging people to speak. And I know that you're in a good place, Raquel, because you're speaking about it. And
Mhm.
when you start to speak about it, it
Mhm.
gives them less power,
Yeah.
right? It
Mhm.
gives you more of the power, and it gives that thing or the people less power.
Yeah.
Because once you start to face it and talk about it and just like call it for what it is,
Hmm.
it just loses its, its glow. It just
Yeah.
doesn't have the same effect,
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think hiding it is the worst thing you can do. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. It took me a while to open up,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
talking about it, or different forms of how you can communicate with people,
Hmm.
like, like, or whatever, just talking and speaking about it, and coming to the realization that there are also kind people out there
Yeah.
was so helpful. It
Yeah,
made
that's
me feel
good.
like I wasn't alone, and that, you know, just the kindness of people around me gave me strength,
Hmm.
and I was
Hmm.
able to have courage to go to school every day and see those people and use like tools that I've learned, and whatnot, to say, listen, this was my mindset also. Like, I don't care what these people think because I have friends that love me for who I am.
Good for you.
And even though it took me a while to make friends too, because I was new to the school and everything, but I said I have people in my life that love me, and that helped me as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's so
but
helpful.
mhm. And
And
there's
that's, yeah.
adult bullies too.
That's what I was just gonna touch on that. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Raquel. You got this.
adult
Yes,
bullies
there
too,
are.
and
Yeah.
it amazes me. It really does. I can't believe it,
Right.
and it really hurts my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. And you're absolutely, I was going to say that. I said, we're talking about kids, but there's adult bullies too. And and it's funny because I'm a little bit tougher skinned, right? I mean, I've been through a hard life, so I'm a little bit tougher skinned, but I've never been a bully. I don't
mhm,
believe in bullying. I've never been a bully. That's just not my thing. In
mhm,
fact, I was the type of person who gravitated towards the kid who was getting bullied.
mhm.
Like,
Me
so if
too.
that kid was getting bullied, that's the kid I wanted to be friends with,
Mhm,
because I didn't like it.
mhm,
What changed my mind was in high school. I'll never forget. There was this young lady who was, I didn't know her. I didn't know her, but I did see her getting bullied a lot. And she was different than every other kid. She had spiky hair and the black around the eyes and all this other stuff. And no other kid looked like her. Right.
mhm,
So people used to bully her. And I just got so fed up with it, and I just remember just going up to her and I sat next to her and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" She's like, look at me like, "What do you want?" But I tell you what, I had a conversation with her. I enjoyed her conversation. She was so nice. And we had a great conversation, two totally different people from two totally different sides of the world.
mhm,
And, every time we saw each other, we would say hi, whatever. We didn't become best friends, but we did talk. Do you know
mhm,
that at the end of the year, we were graduating, and she came up to me and said, "I just wanted to say thank you because I don't know if you know what you did for me that day." And I'm like, "What day?" And she goes, "The day you sat and talked to me." I said, "Oh, yeah, well, we were just chilling." And she's like, "Well, you saved my life because I was actually going to commit suicide that day. And because you spoke to me, I realized that I didn't have to do
wow.
that." And I'm like, wow, Raquel, that
Oh my
changed
gosh.
everything for me. That changed everything for me because I
Wow.
realized everybody needs to be noticed. I'm the person that walks in a room and notices the person in the corner,
Mhm,
notices the person that's picking up the garbage. And like if we're in this big conference and they're
mhm,
picking up the garbage, I go up to the person picking up the garbage. "Hey, what's going on? How are you
yeah,
today?" And they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, good." Like, why is she talking to me? But that's just who I am. I literally
Yeah,
will go to New York City and I'll sit on the floor with the homeless person. "Hey, what's going on? What you
that's what
doing
I
today?"
do.
Yeah, you too? Oh, so we would get along
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
I do that all the time. My husband's like, "Here we go."
and people think I'm weird, and
Me too.
I
It's
I
good
mean,
to be weird.
yeah, it is good to be weird, because
It
'cause I'd
is.
rather, not fit in with the people that are the bullies and the mean the mean people, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, a similar situation happened to me at when I was in high school. First of all, thank you so much for doing that. You saved a life. I mean,
I
that just
know.
shows that
Wow.
any kindness that you do,
Yep.
you never know how it's gonna impact someone's life.
Right.
And you saved her life. So it's like, so when I was in high school, there's this girl on my bus and she kept on getting bullied. At this point, it was towards like 11th, 12th grade. So I became more tough skinned, towards
Hmm.
I was kind of like used to, I learned my coping skills, like if people are mean to me. And I'm not saying it didn't completely affect me but I learned how to deal with that. And I saw her getting bullied all the time, like
That's so
slammed.
frustrating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and then I became friends with her. I invited her to like games, like because I live on Long Island, so there's hockey games here. We did just other fun stuff together, and I did not care if I was, you know, put in this bubble of who not to talk to. But I was
Right.
just like, I have a friend. She's actually really nice. I'm glad I
Right.
talked to her. Like,
Right.
we weren't best friends, but still,
Right. Well, you
yeah,
don't have to be their best friend, right? You just have to
yeah,
show kindness. That's all it
yeah.
takes. It literally takes two words, hi or how are you? Or it takes no effort. It takes no effort to be kind, you
Oh my gosh,
know?
yes, yeah,
It takes no effort.
yeah.
And that's why I think that, what you're doing with being a life coach and a therapeutic art life coach, I think that's amazing, right? Because you're reaching them at different levels now. So you're not just talking to them, right? Because you
Hmm.
can do that with your life coaching. That's what you do as a life coach.
Hmm.
But to also be touching them in art is very, very inspirational because a lot of
Hmm.
people don't know how to talk. They don't know how to tell you what they're feeling. Some
Hmm.
people might do it through poetry or writing,
Hmm.
or drawing or whatever it
Right.
is. So that's great that you're reaching them at that level as well. What do you want
Right.
to do with that kind of work?
You know what? I just think of it also as what I can incorporate it to other jobs in the future
Mm-hmm.
and my practice or where I work. Like I was just telling you about how someone saw that on the resume, they loved it, and they said, honestly, I didn't think people were going to look at that right away and be like, wow. But she said, come in. I want to talk to you. I want to interview you. And she's like, I love that you do this. I think the kids here are going to love it.
That's
She's
so
like,
good.
they always need a certain way, different ways to like express themselves. And I was like, of course. And so, yeah, I'll be doing that soon. It's volunteer work. I do not mind.
Yeah,
I love
that's
to
so
do that.
good. That's so good. And listen, volunteer work is also important, right? I mean,
Hmm.
that's, you start to see how you can navigate what you're doing, grow in the practice of it,
Yeah.
and impact lives at the same time. Hello.
Yeah.
All good. Win, win, win. Win, win, win.
All good. All good.
Right. Now, do you do speaking as well? Do you go out and speak at different schools or do different events or anything like that?
I wish I could, but I got used to speaking because I'm a teacher. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
when I started um, doing podcasts like this, at first I was very nervous because I didn't really know what to do or if
Right.
how to answer specific questions because I didn't know how people wanted to go a certain way. And because I just keep on talking, talking. But I really did um, appreciate these any opportunity I have to share my voice and whatnot.
Mhm, mhm.
Listening is very important too. Like as a life coach, like that's important to to
Mhm.
listen. But when I do have opportunity to talk, I love I love it. I love sharing my story because, like you said, you never know who it's going to impact.
You don't. You really
Mhm.
don't. You
Yeah.
really don't, you know? And like I was saying about the young lady in high school, it's the same thing. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Mhm.
that. But I
Yeah.
knew that was moved by kindness and I was moved by the fact that she was a life.
Mhm.
And if it was only that one life, then that's fine. But we have to get out of our own way sometimes, right?
Mhm.
And so just reaching out to the one, I always say this, that I believe in the audience of one,
Mhm.
because I believe that even if we can use our story to impact one life, we've done our job. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's
Mhm.
more than one, awesome, but if you impact the one life, look what you can do,
Oh my
right?
gosh. You know what?
Yeah.
I've said that before too. And I actually was praying to God when I was going through a very rough time. And I said, God, if everything I've been through in my life, I've, I'm not saying I had the worst life ever, but I'm saying it was pretty bad. And I had a bunch of surgeries. I don't know how I'm alive. Like, so I was like, God, please, please, it will all be worth it if it impacts someone. And
Hmm.
so I got baptized. I was allowed to share my testimony in front of everyone. And there was this man who came up to me afterwards and said, thank you. I was like, for what? And he said, what you talked about, how I don't know who's very spiritual listening to this or whatnot. And he said he was on the fence of believing in God. And now he's showing his faith. And he told me that he believes in
Wow.
God. I was like, that's God doing that work.
That's
But you are
awesome.
welcome. Yeah.
That's awesome though, right? Because that one person believing in God or getting off the fence, right?
Mhm.
Can help him now go impact one more life, who
Yes.
impacts one more life, who
Just gonna say that
impacts
too.
one more life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Yeah.
I was literally just about to say that. Oh my gosh, you're so right. You never know what that person is going to do now. It's like a
Yeah.
chain of events,
Yep.
chain reaction. And yeah. So
Yeah. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It really is when you can impact, people's lives. It's like what you shared your story about, the teachers actually putting into action, moving you around and helping you, right?
mhm,
Maybe that'll inspire someone to think, oh, maybe I should be saying something and maybe they can move me around or they can help me with this. And
mhm,
that could just be the one thing that you said in this whole interview that can change somebody's life. I'm just using it as an example.
yeah.
But like those little snippets of things that we do in life and how we use our lives, our testimonies, and what we go through can impact everybody in so many different facets of life, right? So
Mhm,
whether they've gone through bullying, whether they only speak through art, whether they, didn't know how to speak before and now do, whether
mhm,
they never even knew there was such a thing as a therapeutic art life coach, you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And now they
Mhm,
do, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
everything we do has a ripple effect, right? And I don't,
Mhm,
I am one of those people who believe that God created us all so uniquely different and created us in a way
mhm,
so that we can touch other people's lives because we might be completely different, me and you, but we have some things that connect.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And I think that's just out through humanity, right?
mhm,
We're all so completely different, but yet not so different
mhm.
that we can't connect on some level,
Yeah.
right?
I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
a beautiful thing.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
I no, I really do love that because there's so many components to us. And I
Hmm.
was teaching one time, and a student said, Raquel, like I feel kind of like an outcast. I have seizures sometimes. And I said, oh my gosh, I do too. And I actually had a seizure like 2 weeks later, but at the job. But I said, I do too. And he goes, really? And I said, the way I cope with it is that I pretend it's like a superpower. Not everyone's different. Everyone has, it can have epilepsy, can have bipolar disorder, whatever. Right. I said, I use it as a superpower. And I say, oh my gosh, I'm so unique, you know?
Hmm.
And this way I can talk to other people like you who are feeling this. And there's nothing wrong if you don't, decide to disclose information because it could be very personal. It took me a while to be okay and open about that and not to be as so embarrassed. Thankfully, my seizures have been like good. I haven't had one in a really long time, but
Good.
um, it's it's so nice when someone you're able to have that connection and you're just
Yeah.
able to be like, I feel like a superpower. This is how I deal with it. And the relief, you could just, see the relief in the other person, like, oh, really? Someone else has this too?
Yeah. Yeah. But that was your superpower.
Yeah.
That was. It really
Yeah.
was, right?
Hmm.
Because you were able to connect at a level with this student that
Hmm.
obviously he didn't have a connection with someone else.
Hmm.
right? So it was a superpower. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. That's great. And I'm glad that you're a teacher. You have a great spirit about you. Very, very
Oh,
nice. So I'm really
thank
glad
you.
that you're teaching and that you're doing this life coaching. I think you're going to be phenomenal when you get your master's and keep on moving and going. So I loved
Mm.
your spirit and I loved, your Instagram and I loved everything you had on there. I'm like, oh wow, she has such a beautiful energy and spirit about her. So I'm glad that you took the time to be here with me today. This was a
Of
very
course.
special, special conversation.
Of
So thank
course.
you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I really am. So Raquel, if people want to know, like follow you on Instagram or anything like that, or know what you're doing as far as your life coaching and all that, can you give us like how we can follow you and
Hmm.
find out?
What you can do is definitely just follow me, message me if you need to talk. I'm here. Yeah.
Good. Is it
Link.
under Raquel Alger or
Oh, at Hope Change Inspire.
yeah, that's
So
it.
that's the handle, Hope
Yeah.
Change Inspire. And I am in the process of making a website because,
Good for you. Yeah. Are you building it yourself?
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I did that. Hours and hours and hours of it. Good
but
for you. I
thank
love that, by the way. Hope, change, inspire.
you. Hmm. Yep.
That's
Thank
good.
you. Hope was the one word, honestly, that helped me so much. It meant
Mhm.
so much to me when I was in my deepest, darkest uh, depression was faith and the word hope, that there's always hope. Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
that's why I chose that.
And yeah, is that what then created change? Is that why that came about?
Yes. Perfect.
Mhm.
Yes. And then
Mhm.
that you have the ability to change. And then after that, you can inspire others.
That's really
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
That's really great, Raquel. Thank you. Thank you
Of
for
course.
sharing this space with me. I
Of
appreciate
course.
you. And thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And please do follow her. The handle is Hope, Change, and Inspire. And as you can tell by this wonderful conversation, that's exactly who she is. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. This is Neena Perez. This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.